and shit. I was like, that one might not last real long, but
Well, I think we did that for like maybe 3 or 2 episodes. And then we're just like,
originally I was like, you know what? We'll wait, and I'll smoke a joint at the end and tell everyone, hey, spark it if you got them, and we can all like smoke together. And then I was like, I don't want to wait till the fucking end of it.
Yeah. And
Feel like smoking while you got me sitting here.
there's people all the time in the chat and they're rolling one up and getting ready with you too. So
It's always 420 when you're who?
Somebody was rolling up here too. Oh, Voodoo Vic, he said
RBD. RBD.
My joint is starting to get cold. That was earlier on in the waiting room. So he was ready to roll.
Yeah, strange time today. And then since we started doing it quarter after now, that now I shoot for that. So then it might be a few minutes after that.
Yeah, it gives a little window, I figure, a little window so we can make it happen.
I usually end up at the same end of the window when I'm given one.
Well, hey, we're live. If you guys want to definitely get a question in, use the super chat, and that will help us out. And then we'll get to your question. But on top of it, too, I always try to keep my eyes peeled. So ask a question. We always love interacting. Hey, and that kind of directed some of the show, last week when we were talking about Jacob Fatu. We talked about your Kurt Angle injury. That's when we froze, was during that, when you were talking about.
Oh, my God, yeah. Solar flare night.
Yes.
Joe couldn't get on. And, I kept getting kicked off every couple of minutes. I would turn my computer all the way off.
Right.
And then turn it back on and get back online. And then, I didn't know what was going on. It was a Wi-Fi guy wouldn't have been able to help me. And it's unconnected to my morning issues of dropping my Wi-Fi for a second. But, that really was a pain in the ass. But we were talking about some good stuff. But also, I'll just mention right off the bat, so I was hoping to get Joe on this week because he wasn't on last week, and he's not able to. But the coloring contest really, I feel like, hinges on Joe being here with us to present the winner and talk about it. And he's the guy that's going to airbrush it, and it was his idea. So we're going to put that off for another week. It's not like people paid to enter. So chill, guys, relax. Appreciate your patience. Be zenful. I'm always trying to be more patient, by the way. That's something that I just realized this week that I need to work on is being even more patient than RVD, because sometimes shit will go. It'll build up, and then it comes out in a way that's not the vibe that I want it to come out in, and I really would just rather work on that, because I learned when you put that kind of energy out, you get a certain kind of response back, and once you learn that that's the cause of it, you might not be as confused or upset about what you're hearing from other people if you think about, how you made them feel before they even thought about answering you. And anyway, it's a growth thing. We're always growing, but that's speaking of patience, dude. Anybody listening, it's something we could probably all use a little more of. But man, I love people that can speak calmly through the most stressful situations, and usually I'm that person because it takes a lot to excite me or to even get a big reaction out of me if I'm not in a silly dramatic mood. But I see room for improvement, so let's fucking work on that.
Well, let me say, Rob, when we first hung out at the roast rave, right?
The hell, dude! I lost your audio.
Really? You can't hear me?
Oh, I can now, but I don't know what you said.
Oh, okay. Let me say, when we first met up in Pittsburgh at the Roast Rave Ice Garden, I always tell people about this. When after the show ended, we were kind of waiting around and figuring out what we're gonna do for food, because it was it's suburban Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh, the city of Pittsburgh, closes pretty early too, anyways. But suburban Pittsburgh closes really early, and by the time we all got out, we were trying to find food, and you were very patient about finding food. Took forever, and we ended up going to TGI Fridays and stuff like that. So I think you're pretty good with patience. I'll say that much.
Yeah, man. It's a conscious effort. It also works very um, cohesively with my values. And, I am someone that I wouldn't be offended if somebody called me a passive person. I hope to come across that way and to always act that way. I find that it's better. Sure, sometimes a nice guy finishes last. Sometimes you get bowled over with opportunities because you weren't the aggressive madman stepping on everyone's face to get to it. But for me, it's a better choice in the long run. And so that's, been one of my core RVDology values.
Is there a time when you felt in wrestling being passive has helped you out? Is there a certain moment that really stands out to you? Like, I'm glad I kind of laid back and laid out on that, and later that kind of paid off for you. Is there a certain instance that you can kind of think of?
Here's one.
Okay.
This isn't even like what you're aiming for, but it's funny because it's what popped into my head. I'm in a car in Florida, Universal Studios, TNA years, and Brian Kendrick is sitting next to me. Paul London's in the back. Good guys, always enjoyed their company. And this was the day of the spice, fake weed. That shit was easier to get than weed, especially in Florida. You could literally go right to the cigar pipe shop and buy the exact brand that you're used to, Mr. Nice Guy in the smiley face packet, and know what to expect. It was crazy times because it was actually stronger than really strong weed, but it was unpredictable sometimes. But like I said, you get pretty good quality with the sticking to the same stuff. But when you experimented with different kinds, sometimes, some people would be known to freak out. I eventually did, way after all the TNA days and stuff. I got one called Devil's Advocate. That one had me tripping. I could not wait to kick out and sober up because I couldn't see solid. Shit was moving, and I was like, whoa, this is not fun. But for the most part, though, I had good experience with it. I didn't travel with the weed. I would just I'll get off my airplane, Orlando Airport. I'd stop by not Schlotsky's, what's the Quiznos, and get an apple. And that would be, and I would hollow that out with a pen. That'd be my pipe for the day. Blow the tunnel through, and then I would go and I would get that spice. Anyway, this is what I'm thinking of where patients helped me out. We're all sitting there one time, and then Brian just started freaking out. Oh my God, I got to wrestle tonight. What am I doing? Oh my God, I can't believe that. I have to wrestle like in 2 hours. Oh my God, what was I thinking? I was like, dude, relax, man. It's all gonna be good. You got plenty of time. He's like, oh, okay. So there's an example.
Hey, nice. I like that. That's a good one.
A couple of times though, where I could say that, being the nice guy, you do sometimes get finished last and stuff. Sometimes it does pay to be more aggressive, and that's definitely like you're not going to get a job like in WWE unless you're outworking the guy next to you, because that's how it is. Everyone fighting to get there. But once I had my spot, I didn't want to keep fighting for it. You know what I mean? And I always had issues with that. And one way that comes to mind is whenever they would put us on the stage, all the wrestlers are on stage, producers would come by. They'd always put me up front, near the middle. They want the camera to get me. They know the fans love seeing me. And when the producer walks away, people, they don't even notice that they're doing it probably. They just start like, working their way while they're talking, and then pretty soon they're like in front of me, and I'm like the Homer Simpson, that meme going back into the bush. I didn't want to, I wanted to be on camera, but I didn't want it obviously as bad as these people. So for me, I chose to be passive instead of being like, hey, that's supposed to be instead, I would just be like, you know what? Someone should be looking out for me if it's an important decision, a business decision. If not, there's a lot of times you got to look out for yourself, and I would opt not to do it. And it probably wasn't the best business thing, but for my peace of mind, it was.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And too, I mean, obviously seeing your track record and your ability to kind of like know where your priorities are and everything like that, you're not like overall a passive person. You like when it comes down to business and stuff like that, you can lay the hammer down. So
Yeah, I consider passive, someone that when energy is coming at them, like Aikido is a very passive martial art, and the philosophy behind it, the foundation of it is that you're completing the movement. So you come swinging at me with your right body, and theoretically we go chest to chest, and I'm just completing your circle, doing just what you're doing, and then throwing you and using your own momentum. That's a very passive art where you're not, as opposed to, say, I don't know, boxing or something where you would block and just crack them in the face. That would be what I would consider not passive. And so, like in life, I think of it the same way. I think of a lot of times, when there's confrontational energy coming, that some of us are quick to meet it head on. And sometimes you got to be. There's everything is circumstantial. I always say that. But overall, I'm more likely to, if the energy comes at me, to try to sidestep it, keep it going in a different direction or something. That's more my comfort zone, because I don't want anything to mess up my vibration, because that's my lifetime 24/7 goal, is to work on my spiritual vibration, get it where I want it to be. And so I'm very cognizant of that. And so, there's times where, even like if there's drama around, like if me and Katie are in a public setting, Hollywood Boulevard, the mall, something, and let's say like a fight starts to break out, she's going to like want to stop, go, ooh, ooh, and look, and I'm going to want to grab her hand and like kind of double step to get away from it. I've seen enough of that. I'm not going to learn anything from it. It's asshole energy, because it's hard to be angry and not be an asshole. And these people aren't doing a friendly sparring, to be the winner of the bride out here. They're mad at each other, and everyone thinks they can fight when they're mad. Everybody. I was watching something today, Customer Wars or whatever, or no, you know what? It was a kid playing practical jokes. But anyway, he's on a phone and he's at Walmart or something. He's talking to somebody and he's acting like he's talking to the manager on speaker, and he's saying, this person right here, and the person is saying, yeah, that person with the really nappy hair, tell them that hair is not cool. We need them to leave the store. They would get so pissed, not even seeing who's on the other end. What motherfucker, you tell them come down here and say that to my face? And that's just like the natural reaction. People just want to fight and confront, not even knowing what's on the other side. And it's an amazing primal instinct and reaction to things, and it takes a lot to study it, be aware of it, and then try to override it sometimes. And a passive energy and a passive look at life will help you do that.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it is very tough at certain when things come up like that, when confrontation comes up like that, it is tough to keep your kind of that in factor, like in the back of your head, like, hey, this is kind of, but like you said, you've been around all that kind of stuff, those kind of confrontations constantly. So you're aware. It's like, not that you're desensitized to it, but you're well aware of it, and you can
and I don't want me to somehow be any part of it. That's in my mind too. Somehow, who knows? But let's just fucking move on and keep our vibe going.
Right, 100%. So the topic I'm going to get to some of the super chats that we had from last week, but when we recorded with Greg Gagne and Magnum TA, the topic ended up turning to like shoot fights and like what would happen and certain things when they were in the ring and certain things like that. And both Magnum,
I missed the word you said.
The topic it ended up turning into was shoot fights. Somebody asked about.
Okay.
I asked both Magnum and Greg if they ever encountered like a shoot fight in the ring with like when they were working with somebody or anything like that. And they couldn't necessarily recall a time where they actually got into a shoot fight in the ring with somebody. Did you ever have that instance happen with you, Rob?
Kind of,
Yeah.
but not really where it was a complete. We're both trying to put the other one to a complete stop. You know what I mean? Like that would be a complete shoot,
Mm-hmm.
right? But pretty close to it. You know, I mean, there's been lots of times where where you go through an exchange of receipts and hit each other like harder and harder, but one of you eventually is gonna back down probably. This thought just popped into my head because I was thinking like, what story should I tell? Because there's been a few times, where it's like you want to shoot, throw them on their head and be like, what's up? It's your move. And they stay down and then they stay down. So you don't really count that. But starting out, I remember a time I was wrestling in a church and somebody, and I was green, like wrestling 2 or 3 years, but I already had some standards. And this dude was talking a big game before the match about how good he was. And he ended up doing something stupid, filming something and putting me over his knee and spanking me. And so I hooked his waist and I went behind him and I gave him a German right on his head. Bam. And I did it purposely stiff. That's the way I was trained, because I was like, fuck you, fucking spanking my ass in front of all these people, making me look like an asshole. But he was done. And there have been, I can think of other times like that too in Fort Wayne, Indiana with, those were like one of our first matches. And Sabu told those guys that, me and Dango thought that wrestling was a complete shoot. And then within a minute of working us, I guess they believed it from how stiff we were and like a Rolling Thunder or something. And then they just stayed down and we weren't expecting that. So it was like a 1 or 2 minute match. But those aren't the ones that stuck out in my head. What I thought of is a memory that I hadn't thought of in a long time, but it was a wrestler from Forsyth, Georgia named Billy Black. You might even be listening to this. I don't know. But I wrestled Billy Black a lot back in the 92, 93, 94. I don't know, a bunch during several of those years when I lived in Georgia. We wrestled in the Carolinas. Billy wrestled for Japan. He was Joel Deaton's partner for All Japan. So, he was good. He knew what he was doing. And we were like tit for tat, competing with each other. And I just remember one night where I can't remember what happened during the match where our emotions were up, but I beat him. And then afterwards, he like power bombed me and wanted to leave me in the ring. And I was like really offended because he just took my moment from me. And I was young and green and I no-sold it and went after him. And we literally were exchanging punches. And then he'd walk, and I was following him. Then it looked probably like it worked because I finally catch him, spin him around, and we would go at it, for a while. And then like he would walk out, fuck this, and I'd go after him again. And the referee would say, "Come on, guys, stop this! You guys are friends," because we were, but we were just in the heat of the moment. I was like, "Fuck you, you ain't," because I was like, "Hey, man, I'm the star of this show," and it felt right at the time, Also, when I was really young and green, I remember when Mark Starr fucking power bombed me and left me out there in Jamaica. My first time in wrestling, only time wrestling in Jamaica, but I was super, super young, super green, had all these plans, and he power bombed me like 3 times, shoot covered me, pulled my leg up hard, and then left me in the ring after all these plans and promoting this big show. For everybody. And then like I had like a 2-minute match where he squashed me. And I never did forgive that motherfucker for that. I never did, but I rolled under the rope, out to the apron, did a backflip off the skirt, caught hell from Jimmy Backlund and Mark Starr. As soon as I got back to the dressing room, Jimmy Backlund was, "Who the fuck trained you?" And he knew who trained me, Well, then Sheik must not know what the fuck he's doing then. You just did a backflip after you got powerbombed 3 times? I was like, well, I don't know what the fuck that was about. I wouldn't, I shouldn't have got, and anyway, it was, one of those lessons learned by always, that's why he's always going to be that asshole in my mind because he died. He already did see that I got to be a much bigger star than him, even though he said I'd never make it in the business. And Jimmy Backlund's dead too. Fuck those guys. Now, Jimmy, Jimmy was all right sometimes. At least I got to know him a little bit, got to know both sides of him, not the other guy.
Yeah, and like what was the plan? Were you supposed to win, or what was going to happen? Like,
I honestly don't remember,
you
dude.
don't
This
remember?
is my 21st birthday. So I was so happy to be there in Jamaica, traveling, wrestling, and I didn't even smoke yet, but I did on that tour for the first time, But um, I really, I don't remember. I wrestled Kevin Sullivan one night and Mark Starr one night. I think I had a tag match maybe or something. I think it was a 3-night deal, and I don't know, but it wasn't for him right off the bat. I think if I remember right, I think he like threw me into the ropes and mumbled something. And I came back, and maybe we ran into each other or something weird, And he was just like, "I'm not going to take a chance to get hurt with someone who doesn't know what the fuck they're doing in the ring." And he was just like always like that asshole. But looking back, also, I was a prima donna. I could see where someone like me would have got heat with someone like him, the old school guys that were there. And here comes this young green kid thinking he's the shit because I kind of did have that aura about me. I think so. Looking back, I mean, not that people told me that I was an asshole, but when I look back to my state of mind, I mean, I did believe I was better than everyone else, and that I don't know. I just guess I really believed in myself, but I can see where old school people would be like, "You're a little too fucking comfortable around here,"
Yeah. But that's what gets you ahead too in a lot of ways when you have that kind of confidence too. So it's like finding that balance.
Wasn't as passive back then, although I was passive when Mark Starr wanted to fight me at the Sportatorium like maybe 2 weeks after that or something. Something happened like after that match. They booked us together to wrestle. And I didn't want to do it. I was just like, nah, I don't fuck that guy. And I didn't realize how much heat that would get me. And then the next week at the Sportatorium, I got so much heat. And he was there, like, you cancel a match because you don't want to fucking work with someone? Are you fucking kidding me? And you want to make it in this business? Are you are you serious right now? And I was like in the ring trying to work out, and these guys came and ambushed my workout to fucking bitch at me and shit. And learning lesson there, you know what I mean? I learned like, yeah, you don't do that, but also fuck him.
Yeah. Where's
he at now? Where are you at, Mark?
Wasn't he a job guy for the most part? Am I thinking of the right star? I know there
was. I don't know. He had a push with Chris Champion, and there were some guys from the future. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah. If I'm thinking of who I'm thinking of, that might be who I'm thinking of.
Yeah, I really didn't get to know him. He wrestled in Japan also, and was in that clique in Florida with Jimmy Backlund, Coconut Kid. Johnny Ace actually came down there. Pat Tanaka was in that clique, and they all were the veterans and partied, and nobody wanted a fucking 20-year-old kid coming up wearing a black belt that the promoter gave him and said, "If anyone asks you, tell him I taught you Yoshikai." That's heat.
That is heat. Hey, somebody, Blue Meanie's in the chat. He says, "Good evening, fellas. Looking good."
Hey,
yeah.
Love you, Blue.
Yeah, he's got
back to Blue till it happens to you.
That's it. He's got that 3 shows tomorrow mornings with Meanie. Check it out, guys, if you can. Okay. I wanted to ask too. You mentioned it in some synchronicity happening here. I was going to ask you about Kevin Sullivan because he actually got into a car accident. He's okay, but I wanted to, get your thoughts on him and your experience with Kevin Sullivan. You kind of mentioned you had it, like you worked with him a little bit in Jamaica there and stuff. So
yeah, Jamaica.
Well, I want to.
When was the car crash?
I think it was, or he got hit by a car or something. But it was like either this past week or the week before. But I think it actually happened. So it was just recent. So
okay. So I met him there in Jamaica when I was 20, about to have my 21st birthday. Ron Slinker introduced me to him as a longtime friend. And I felt like I had an in, and we bonded because he was tight with the Sheik. So I was the Sheik's boy, and so he was. I felt like he was gonna like look out for me. Something that I'll always remember. when we're talking there in Jamaica, like a day or two before the first show, I'm promoting it and stuff, and just talking to Kevin. His wife Nancy's there, and like I said, Ron Slinker saying, "Oh, you got to see this kid in the ring. You know, he does these flips and kicks and stuff. You know," and he would just be like, "Oh yeah." Oh yeah, do you take karate? You know, it was just kind of like an obligatory conversation. And Nancy looks at me and she says, "Do you work out?" And she like starts doing like, you know, like curl motions and with the air, like, do you work out? And I was like so offended. I'm like, does she not see my massive 189-pound jacked right out of high school fucking body? Like, what is she missing? I was like, is she really asking me that? Because, you know, I was working hard, but it wasn't showing as much, you know, when I was younger, and that's part of life. But I remember like being, like, I don't even know if I should answer that, you know, like, how do you answer something like that? Do I work out like 4 days a week, 5?
What do you think?
What do you bench, Nancy? You know, I'll always remember that. Yeah. Over the years, you know, Kevin is always, you know, one of those people I always bump past with him quite often when I lived in Los Angeles and wrestled for PCW, because he was one of the, I don't know if he was the booker or if he was just the maybe the general manager there or something at PCW in LA. But I would always see him there. And I just saw him somewhere very recently. I don't know where.
I've only interacted with him briefly. Very nice guy. Obviously, he's very smart. And I love obviously, this is long after the fact when I was a fan, or before, was like the whole his satanic panic kind of gimmick he had, and that fucking Varsity Club stuff with Rick Steiner and all that. Just really, really cool cult like stuff. Really a big fan of that stuff.
Yeah. So part B to my other story, you know, Mark Starr, when he did that, and then him and Jimmy gave me shit, you know, in Jamaica, and you're never going to make it in this business. You know, you fucking pansy, whatever. You don't know what the fuck you're doing. They broke me down.
Wow.
And yeah, you know, I'm, like I said, I'm 20 years old, you know, just been wrestling, you know, maybe 2 years, you know, not full time or anything, you know, match a month or something. But anyway, I remember at nighttime wanting to get away and isolate and wanting to find my center of balance, because I was so stressed out. So I was like, fuck, what am I doing? I should have went to college. You know, it was like that kind of, yeah. And I remember like I found this parking lot where there was vending trucks, and I was climbed up and I was on top of a vending truck. And I don't remember if I was Indian style, what position I was in, but on my knees or whatever, but I was meditating. And I was trying to, like I said, find, you know, my balance, because I was just all over the place, so stressed out. And I was like, man, Dad's right. You know, what do I shouldn't have tried this as wrestling. This ain't for me. Fuck. You know, like really, really doubting myself. And then, like, there wasn't much noise. I mean, the parking lot all by myself is dark, but there's like a wall. And on the other side of the wall that borders the parking lot, I could hear this music. And at first it was faint and it got a little louder. And it was like, I don't know if jungle music is the right word to use. But it was, you know, kind of like little chanting and some like hand drum kind of something. And anyway, it was getting louder and stuff. And the next day when I was with everybody, they were asking, did you guys hear that music last time? They said that there was a voodoo ritual going on, and they said that Kevin Sullivan was fascinated by it, and that he was trying to get into it, you know, that they were saying, no, Kevin, don't do it. And that he was like, you know, like really into it and trying to somehow submerge himself into it and follow it and be part of it. And that's something that just stuck out in my mind as well, that I'm sure I've probably never mentioned
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Man, that's really, I mean, that fits perfectly with Taskmaster.
Yeah. That's when I learned, that he was into that shit. I remember we were, all on the beach fishing. There was like $2 lobsters, they would catch them, give them to you, or you could get them or something. Everyone was stoked. I didn't like eating lobster, but I remember hanging out with Kevin a lot then. And I don't know where I would have seen him just recently, but like I said, I do see him at a lot conventions, and I think I saw him in Philly probably. But
Yeah, might have. Yeah. He didn't. This is going to be a novice question, but he didn't have a run in ECW at all, did he? Did he ever show up in ECW?
I feel like he did. I think, but I wasn't there, and I don't know if it was a run or just an appearance.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure about that, but I think that he did.
Okay. Yeah. YouTube.
He did. Sheik did. I didn't even realize Sheik did. You know what I mean? Like it was.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
But then Sabu would tell you Extreme Championship Wrestling isn't the original ECW. He always tells me whenever he sees my TV title, he always says, that's not the original TV title, right? And he had one when it was Eastern Championship Wrestling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think it was something, but I think it was something even before that. But whatever, I'm going to read Todd's book, but I read Sheik's book. I learned so much that I didn't know.
Did you finish it too?
I finally finished it. Yeah, it's funny. Somebody was interviewing me, and we both said the same thing. Started a long time ago, kept getting back to it, and then just finished it. And that's just what it took. It's a very informative book. It won't take everybody that, but for me, I would juggle a couple other books in between. Some things that I consider more lighthearted or get it
philosophical,
cause a different kind of vibration in me, So, like certain books are just so factual that put me to sleep. This wasn't, but it wasn't also about mobsters, blowing their heads off and stuff like that. Just totally different. But I learned a lot of stuff about when I was there and part of the Sheik story, and I was like amazed because it's so easy to think history happened way before you.
Yeah, well, isn't it? It's pretty wild, and I said this before too. I think it's just so cool that you got trained by somebody like the Sheik, and you're carrying on that legacy, and then in turn, the people that you are working with, they're carrying on a little bit of your legacy too, because they've learned from you in certain ways too, and they've adapted your style. So it's kind of neat just to see that legacy carry on, so to speak.
True.
Mm-hmm. Blue Meanie did say the Chris Champion tag team was called the Nude Breed. So how about that? The Nude Breed.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah.
I do remember that. Yeah, when I first started watching wrestling, I remember seeing them on. It was like the first show. We only got WWF, but then Saturday morning, I guess. Maybe it was on Fox when Fox came out. We only had 3 channels. People have no idea how far we've come, like in decades.
Yeah, right.
First, we had 3 channels, and then when Fox came in, that was like a 4th one, and they had something on Saturday morning, which I don't know if this would have been. I don't think AWA, but I know the New Breed. I saw them there and the Road Warriors.
Oh.
So maybe Blue Meanie knows what
he might know
what TV wrestling organization that was. I kind of think Kevin Sullivan might have been there too, maybe, but I'm not sure about that.
I say Kevin Sullivan was in early ECW, so there he was there. So cool. What else was there? I saw in the chat. Do that one.
Seth wants to know if anyone got superpowers from the solar flares. Not that I know.
Did you, Rob? Did you get anything? You think?
No, man, just pissed.
That drained your patience. It drained your patience.
Yeah.
What happened? Hold on. I want to say. Oh, Joe Holland message in the group here. I want to find it here. He said something.
Cool. Yeah, Joe was saying here in Las Vegas that the signal was extra bad because we're near that area 51, and they have these beams, disruptive beams that are part of their regular frequency. And I was really hoping maybe we could talk a little bit about that, and hopefully we can when he's on.
Yeah.
He knows a lot about that. And I was telling him, like, fuck yeah, I was watching that stuff with the Senate hearings like about a year ago. But I don't know if you know this or not, but it just came up like a week ago. Also, here in Las Vegas, there's a reporter named George Knapp, awesome, legendary TV reporter. He was always there with all the mobsters back in the day, and he's always there with all of this inside, with all of the UFO places, black ops programs, stuff like that. He's just awesome. But anyway, like a week ago, he was talking about a program that just got announced and named. Fuck, I can't remember what it's called right now. Now I'm going to think of it or look it up. But a program that had to do with studying, I think, UFO defense systems or something, and it just got acknowledged that so much was funded to this program. And he was the one announcing it, but then the girl said, "Did you already know about this? Because you're already in there all the time." And he said, "I knew that this program existed, but not the name of it, something like that." The fuck, now I gotta look it up, but don't let that stop you. I'm gonna multitask here.
Okay, I'll do some research on it here when we can. What else was there on there?
Oh, I looked up multitask. How stupid! That's not what I want to look at.
I just typed in multitask. It's funny. Let's see the brand. Let's go here. Okay, I got a couple of super chats from last week. We'll pop this one up first. Voodoo Vic, this was a compliment. He said, "Thanks for the $5, Voodoo Vic, from last week. Binged all the episodes, and I love that this pod is more history focused, which offers a ton of replayability. Always a lot to learn from these episodes." Yeah, I mean, I think the big takeaway too is the RVDologies at the end, because those are evergreen. You can use them anytime, and so it's a great thing. So.
Hey, you know what? It is what it is. It's funny when some people comment and say either something, like, man, he's got to get another host, or man, he's got to learn, or sometimes there'll be like a bunch of, man, I can hear RVD tell stories all day. Then there'll be one guy, man, how could RVD suck so bad at telling stories? You know what I mean? So I always look at opinions as like, whatever, like, does that guy purpose to go against the grain? Does he not read all the other ones? But either way, though, I think that, it is what it is. So, like, I appreciate people that like what this has become, and maybe, everything is always morphing to an extent, you know what I mean? But I enjoy telling the stories that are flared up in my head when we have these conversations. By the way, George Knapp's UFO program he was talking about, it was called Kona Blue. Blue. Like in Hawaii, Kona. Yeah, and it was just acknowledged. So that shit's still like in the news often here, and people don't know about it. And it's so funny how much real stuff is out there just mixed in with misinformation. And I learned that the government does that from studying marijuana prohibition. Like, that's the first time I learned that they would purposely put out misinformation to confuse people with what's true, what's not. And they still do it. And now that the DEA says that they're going to move forward with reclassifying cannabis, here comes the misinformation. Get ready for it.
Okay, I'm ready.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying it's going to be coming.
Yeah, they're going to drop it. I get it.
They're going to, because, it's so easy to be like make it mandatory that any kid that gets caught with marijuana automatically has to go to therapy, or whatever the fuck you call it. Counseling.
Counseling, yeah.
Drug rehab. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Make it mandatory. Anybody that gets caught with the weed, you send them there. Then see how many people are there, and then use that as your bullshit statistic to say, this many people needed rehab. This many kids under 15 needed rehab because you sent them there and made them go there. And then you're saying, you get what I'm saying? Like, it's so easy to work all the statistics like that. And they always have. And anyway, I learned that the government does that. And of course, with whatever they do know about UFOs and aliens, and it sounds crazy, but is not so much anymore, really. So, but you don't have that conversation. That's fine. But they also do it during war times, and they do it during peaceful times. And that's just what I learned is that we are not going to ever penetrate that upper echelon of world leaders or possibly universal leaders that are just so untouchable, and they're the ones that make all the rules. They're the ones that profit from everything. They're really the ones in charge, and they really operate on a system that's so incomprehensible to us that we'll probably never know much about it anyway.
Yeah, and the thing is too is like, you know, this stuff gets like put in the news and like, hey, it could get reclassified, and I hope it does. But then I think too, it's an election year too, and so you want like how
good
reason to get votes, and then what's going to happen? Is the rug going to get pulled out from under everything, and how is it all going to work?
But the thing is, I think you can do anything, but it would be a hard fight to all of a sudden say, okay, it's medicinal, because that's what reclassifying it does. As a Schedule 1, that means it's got no medicinal benefits. It's the most addictive and harmful drug that we have on society and on our health. That's where marijuana is, Schedule 1, the most dangerous, along with heroin, acid, you know, those really bad ones. Guess what? Cocaine is a Schedule 2.
What?
That means it's safer and better for you and society. And guess what else is a Schedule 2? Meth.
What? Meth?
Yeah.
How?
Yeah. That's why I've been saying that has to change. It's been that way since 1970. Richard Nixon temporarily put it there. Why he sent out and they did this test. And he didn't like the results of the test. So he just, boom, forget about it, threw it away, erased it. And then we've been living with it since. And a lot of people, especially racially profiled people and agendaed, biased profiling that drug enforcement agencies have used since they prohibited it in the 30s. You know, it was always about that. And so anyway, if they reschedule it as a Schedule 3, which is what they're saying they're going to move forward and do, then that would be acknowledging it actually is medicinal. It's the third class of the most dangerous, and that's a lot more realistic. And that's where you'll find I think Vicodin's there, like some prescription drugs, steroids, things that aren't an epidemic, you know, like fucking fentanyl. You know, marijuana is worse than fentanyl or the same. Come on. So I've said forever it needs to be done. A lot of people that are in the marijuana advocating movement are going to look at this as ridiculous because they believe, and I do too, that it could be declassified, you know, and just be out there to be nature's medicine for the mind, like aloe vera is for the body. Mm-hmm. You know, it's only a drug because someone says it's a drug. It's growing out there in the field, like the corn, you know, like the hay, like the sugar, whatever. But anyway, Jack Herer, my mentor, he would hate to see it reclassified instead of declassified, because then, you know, that still gives them control. They still got to make money over it. And you know, I believe in baby steps. I think it's a good thing, you know, but it'll be hard for them to do this and then to pull back and say, okay, now that I'm comfortable in the office and my seat's warm, let's say it's not medicinal anymore. That would be hard because most people already know that it is. They just don't know that the laws are as fucked up as they are in the classifications. And they also don't know, by the way, that the federal government prescribes medicinal marijuana, and they always have. It's a little pill called Marinol, and they give it to people that have AIDS or
cancer.
Maybe, wasting away diseases like that, stimulate their appetite, kill their pain, add to their enjoyment of life. It's called Marinol. And I've tried it a few times. It's gone around the dressing room or whatever. But I mean, it's been around like forever and ever. And before, I think before even the Controlled Substance Act, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was, I tweeted the other day, I looked it up, and I think it was like 40. I don't want to misquote. I hate it when I do that. I hate it when I find myself and I'm like 1 year off or something, like, oh my God, I can't believe I said that. But anyway, besides that, they also did a program where they grew weed, rolled it into joints, and sent it in coffee cans to patients that needed it medicinally. Yeah, and this compassionate users program, it had like, I think only like maybe like 12 patients. It was like really rare. There was one guy that was very outspoken on a lot of marijuana educational shows, and he would talk about this painful disease he had where his bones would be like protruding out of the joints and it hurt really bad. And he was showing a coffee can. He'd open it up, filled with rolled joints, even more than D-rolled for me that I took photos of. And anyway, a few years ago, at least 8 years ago, there was one or two of them still alive. I don't know if they're still alive now or not. It'd be something that should be easy to do a quick search. But anyway, they were grandfathered in, so they were still giving them weed. And if they're alive, the federal government is still growing weed to send them while arresting others and killing their dogs and selling their houses. It's hypocrisy, always has been, but hopefully it's a good move. And, I guess we wanted to talk about that anyway. I got there from just talking about how the government, uses misinformation overall. But yeah, it's a pretty significant thing. Like at first I was like, at first I listened to Biden's speech and I was like, I'm going to wait to get excited. I believe when I see it. And then like within the next few hours, I started reading other reports. And then, when it said the DEA announced that this is their plans, is to move forward with rescheduling this. All right, that sounds like maybe they're serious. Let's see what they do.
Fingers crossed, Yeah, I had the quote from Biden. He said, "This is monumental. Far too many lives have been upended because of a failed approach to marijuana, and I'm committed to righting those wrongs. You have my word on it." So hopefully his word stands true and stuff gets cooking with that. I do remember when Obama said he was going to quit raiding the dispensaries, and then somehow they cranked it up at the same time. Yeah, in California anyway. That was weird. That's politics for you. Oh, man. Yeah, that's crazy. It was Schedule 1, and it's there's like fucking fentanyl and heroin. Like, what the fuck? That's crazy.
And I've been telling people forever, that was one of the things, like when I learned that, I was like, no, I mean, people have to right this wrong. Like when they learn this, they're going to know there has to be a change. We can't be arresting people, ruining people's lives. Even just getting arrested ruins people's lives, trying to get a job, trying to get a loan, trying to get a house, whatever. Like shit goes on your record besides the fact that you're in a cage wasting your life, your hours, and because of some political manipulative bullshit.
Yeah, it's frustrating. Yeah.
So I know that's part of it too, though, is that he's releasing a lot of wrongfully arrested people, and that's important because you wonder, like, well, but they were still breaking the law at the time, so did you go by morally if it was wrong, or do you go by if they were law-abiding citizens or not? Looks like morality wins. That's consistent with my thinking. A lot of people don't think that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's good that because so many of the prisons were filled up with people that were just busted for marijuana and it's just ludicrous. It's stupid.
It's a highly profitable business. If you can buy a prison and open it up, and then get them to fill it up with with residency, you can make a lot of money. You can make a lot of money, and then get the government to pay you. Get paid so much per prisoner. Fill that motherfucker up, man. Make the closet an extra room. What the fuck?
Yeah, it's all about that money, man. It's all about that money. Super chat from last week was this one. We've talked about this, but Kamels, I hope I said it right. New Zealand, RVD, consider opening a wrestling school someday. Rob, you talked about doing it, like your thought process on training other wrestlers and stuff like that. Touch upon a wrestling school, so to speak, if you will.
Yes. So over the years, I have had the thought circle through my brain once or twice. I did try for a little time to train a couple of guys that really weren't really athletic. They were friends of mine. I thought if I could train them, then I could have other people to help me if I get students. So it's not just me in there, but they had no business being in the ring, and I found out I really didn't have the patience. I don't understand why people don't understand what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. And so it frustrates me. And that's what I was talking about earlier about working on patience. Sometimes I'll be talking and someone looks at me like I'm not speaking English, and all I can, and I mean, what are options? Say it again, more peacefully and slower. That would be good. But also, here's an option B. Say it again, but say it louder and dramatically. Like, what the fuck don't you get? That's probably not the best choice, although a lot of times it seems like, the lowest hanging fruit. So you grab it and you do it. Things escalate. You get a response. And anyway, that's what I was talking about also about being passive.
It all ties together. Yeah.
Always. Everything does.
Mm-hmm. And it's true, too. I can't remember who I was talking to this about, but I was using.
Who are you talking to it about?
I want to say it was Greg and Magnum.
Say it.
So it was, you look at guys Greg like Greg and Magnum. You look at guys like Michael Jordan and stuff like that, and they're just so talented, and they're like above everybody else in a lot of ways when it comes to like what they're able to do on the basketball court or whatever field they're in. And like when you put them in a coaching perspective or a management perspective, they're not able to like convey it because they have their own level of talent. It's like, yeah, why aren't you getting this kind of thing? So I think there's that kind of thing too, where it's you're not able to kind of explain it sometimes. I think might be tough.
I think I am probably not good enough at explaining, and I live by example. I explain by example, so I'll get in there and show you my explosive dramatic moves, boom boom boom, and then I'll be like, is that what I did? Why are you doing it that way? I told you to do it this way, or just, and it just, I told you don't put your hand there. Why do you keep doing that? And, things like that. I don't know that I would want to work through that. Of course, as we learned before, I would if there's a reason, right now, can't think of a reason. It wouldn't be for passion or because I want to spread my wisdom of wrestling. So it would take a reason that I don't know. I could see maybe more possibly. I don't even know. I was going to say, like, I've never done a seminar. Every once in a while, somebody wants me to do a seminar, and I'm like, same reason. I don't do that. But at least if there's guys that are already good and I'm looking at the best of what they got, trying to sharpen them up a little bit, then maybe that would be something that I could communicate and relate to more. I don't know. But same thing about my stretch video. Someone asked recently, can it be available on a platform? I always, my whole career until just a couple of years ago, wanted to do my stretch video. And I have filmed it several times, different locations. I've thought and rethought all these different ways of conveying what I'm doing and what's going on in my body, in my head, in this space. And it's like, I can't do it. It's counterproductive to even talk while I'm doing my stretch. It's such an inner body experience for me that I think it might just be an inner Rob experience. And I probably, at this point, I don't think that I'm going to have it available because, man, me and DDP were going to do it. And he was going to distribute it through his distribution channels that he does. DDP, his yoga is, we all know, very successful.
Yeah.
So it seems like a no-brainer. But even with the most imagination I can have, there's just so much going on between what you see, which is the actual position that I'm in, and what am I really feeling? Like, where is my weight being bared? Where is it being free? Like where's my weight balanced, and how does that affect the muscles? Are the muscles that are holding my weight are going to be used and more contracting so that I can relax the muscles that are not holding my weight? And then there's breathing, and then there's like, besides this position that you can see with my legs, now I'm also going to turn at the waist, clockwise, maybe about 95 degrees. And then I'm going to also bend back at the lower spine and look up. And then there's all these things going on. And it's even imagining using like green screen technology, or not green screen, but I'm sorry, like graphics. I was thinking graphics where maybe I could show you like what muscles are being worked. Like, even with all of that, I still don't have a vision of how I could present this where, because even like if I did an audio track that was separate and you played that, but I just did my own stretch and recorded it, which is what I thought of doing at one time, I just feel like that would detach you from it so much, because I don't know, I'm going, see me, like see how I'm leaning forward, and I'm dipping my shoulder in right there. I don't know, because then it's like, that's different than doing it with me, watching me and understanding. And I thought maybe I have commentary on or off so they can get to know it and use some digital graphics and this and that. But in the end, I just think it might just be an inner RVD kind of experience. I'm always happy to give tips.
Yeah.
Especially when it's something specific that I can answer easily,
it's got to be tough to convey it too, like how you want, the
so much going on.
Yeah, the benefit you're getting from it. It's hard to describe to those the people what they're doing, even when you're in time doing it. I was not, because I had the DDP Y videos and stuff like that, and I would be doing it. And I'm like, it's pretty amazing that DDP is able to do it at the same time and then talk about doing it.
Right.
I think it's pretty remarkable.
That's one of the things for his workout that he really believes is he wants you to like count reps and talk, and he wants everyone to do it in the whole class. When I was, I did his class when I was there. I walked Stevie Richards through my part of my stretch. We didn't get real far because it's so long too. But anyway, while we're doing the workout, he wants everyone to be like, and down 9, 8, 7, 6. Come on, RVD 3. You know what I mean? Like, that's part of it. Sometimes I think about that when I'm doing I'm stepping up and down on my steps, real quick, and it's a lot easier to be like and just do it instead of being like 1 up, 2 and 3 and like just doing that, and all of a sudden it's so much harder. And I think of him, and I do that, and I make myself do it.
yeah. I know. I'd be in my apartment just doing it by myself, like counting aloud as I'm doing it.
Yeah, that's part of it.
Yeah.
And it's really good for wrestling when you think of it, because we have to exert so much energy. And it's not like we get to go 3, 2, 1, like starting a race. We're already doing something, and we got to do more. And so it's really good for a lot of reasons, but that's one of them.
Yeah. That's great stuff.
Yeah.
Super from David Von Boglin. He was on the the Nash and Friends that you were on, and you recommended Kratom to him and another guy, Josh Henney.
Nice.
Yep. Thanks for the $10, David. He says, RVD, what are some things you learned about Dom? And Dom, what are some things you learned about RVD since you two started working together? Hope everyone has an awesome weekend.
Oh, I like that question. And let me also say, I had this sponsor, or I had this thing running, which I'm sure is still good. But if you want to try kratom in a liquid shot, it's called Viva Zen, and if you go to vivazen.com, you can order it and just have it delivered to you. And you can, if you put in code RVD20, you'll get a discount. It's Katie's favorite way because it's real quick. I've noticed if I put the kratom powder in my drinks, I do feel it quicker and a little bit more of a rush, which feels good when I put it in the liquid over dry scooping it, which is how I take it 99% of the time, is just putting the powder in and then,
Yeah.
So I learn those things. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. I can't remember what's in there, the liquid with it in the Viva Zen.
Is it
coconut oil? Maybe? I don't know. I don't want to start.
called like this, Rob? VivaZen.com?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Yes, sir. And then RVD 20. If you want to, yeah. Katie doesn't do the powder anymore. The capsules I've never had any luck with, and I've never talked to anybody that's had good luck with the capsules. Like for some reason, I mean, maybe they've improved them now. Maybe they've got some, but I don't know about them. Every time, even when someone sends them to me, because I have people still send me shit for research and development, because for me to possibly put my brand on, and when they send the capsules, I don't know why, but that cellulose that encapsulates the fucking powder, I think that it doesn't break down at the right time in your body, and that it maybe already bypasses some of your, I don't know, sensors or digestive mechanisms where maybe some of it goes through and turns to waste or something, because I have to eat so many of those to equal probably like a third amount of the powder. Even like some of the guys will get the capsules and empty the powder out of them and take it there. Cause like I would say like 10 grams of powder for me would probably take maybe like between 20 and 25 capsules.
Wow.
So that's how I feel about that.
Holy smokes.
Anyway, Viva Zen, it's like a 5-hour shot. Get it down.
RVD20, promo code RVD20.
So that's cool though to hear from you guys. And what have I learned about Dom? Let's see. That I didn't already know, because I knew like right away, obviously, I liked the way we gelled, or I wouldn't have wanted to do this. I still don't know how you talked me into doing it. Like, I don't even remember. Like, I always said for the longest time I didn't want to do it unless there was like a sweet deal guarantee lined up. And now I'm like, what was it that that made me motivated to do this? But I do enjoy it, and I enjoy the feedback that we get. We started out, you would always tell me how last week's RVDology affected you during the week, and so I liked to know that my stories, or just me explaining how I see things, could help you. So I thought that was really cool. So I know you're open-minded.
Yep.
I know you have a cat.
I got a cat. That's it.
And I think that you're a hustler and a hard worker, doing several shows, trying to go get it. And I like that about you. But I think I knew that right away, though. So as far as learning from you over the year, 1 year, right?
1 year, yep. Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's something that I didn't know about you. Maybe, I guess I couldn't have known that we would get along for 12 months.
Yeah, right.
Okay, now you go.
Okay, so knowing I obviously I knew who RVD was, and I was a big fan of his, and but coming to the podcast and everything like that, and working with him week in and week out, I found it really fascinating, and not just with me, but you're very big into loyalty and like keeping true to who you are and to the people that have gotten around you. And I kind of had that vibe about you before meeting you, I think, but like being on the show and stuff really reaffirmed that all and showed to a bigger level, I think, too.
That's the when we did the Ideology episode on loyalty.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, to a flaw for sure.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah. That was one of the early things that the CBD stuff and everything like that. And we talked about all that stuff. Something else I learned about Rob was he's an Elmore Leonard fan, and I'm also an Elmore Leonard fan. So that's another one. Trying to think what else that I learned about you too. Just how much you love animals too, I think is really cool. I think that's really cool. Mm-hmm. So
right on, dude.
Yeah,
you're wearing hats.
Wear hats. Yeah. Good question, David. Thanks for joining in, man.
Good question.
Yeah. We had another one. I know Seth chimed in with one.
I learned I can count on you because you might originally get that feeling, but you don't really know until you've had enough time, and you do count on somebody.
Well, thank you. Yeah. I appreciate that. I can count on you too. And you know what? When I first met
you, 7, come on, 6. I'm counting on
you. Yeah. When I first messaged you too, it was just like because Marcus, he's a podcast with Ted DiBiase, and he was like, is there any names that you would be interested in? I was like, I'd like to do Rob, and then I was like,
that's your brother, Marcus?
That's my brother, Marcus, and I was like, if this guy knows Rob, let him know that. And I was like, wait a second, I have Rob's number. I interviewed him like twice for WrestleZone. And so that's when I was like, made the pitch to you and I sent you the text, and that's how it all kind of came to fruition from there. So.
Word. And here we are rolling in the green.
Rolling in the green, baby.
Actually, I am.
Yeah, he's literally doing it right now.
Making it happen.
Making it happen, baby. Greg Jacobson, thanks for the $1.99. Rob, you ever hear or try salvia at all?
Well, I've heard of it. Goddamn, have I tried it? I want to say no, but it seems like man, it seems like maybe one time. I can't even remember if you smoke it or if it's like a another substance. I'm not either way though. I may have just tried it one time, if so, but I definitely don't know anything about it and don't have experience with it.
If I'm looking at the right thing, it's purple.
I know that when that fake pot that I was talking about, is also labeled spice. When that was out for a while and it was crazy. It was like legal weed that's way stronger than the strongest weed. So if you got the right one, well, when the when that came crashing, everybody mixed everything up together in their minds, and so there was bath salts, there was the spices, and there was salvia, if I'm saying it right, that he's talking about it, and people didn't know what the fuck they were talking about. They thought it was all the same. Wow. It's all way different.
Yeah.
The bath salts were turning people into zombies.
Fucking eating people's faces and shit.
We had one actually 2 weeks ago in Las Vegas. Someone got caught eating somebody's face.
What?
Yeah, on the Vegas trip. Yeah.
I remember when that happened, like, what was it, like 12 or 13 years ago? It was in Miami. And I seriously, like, was kind of concerned. I was like, is this really the zombie apocalypse?
Right.
Do I have to prep or something?
Eat lots of garlic.
Yeah, exactly. Eat garlic. Do what I can. Rub myself in meat so nobody can they won't be able to see me. Seth, artist of the song. What about teaching RVDology to the masses like a coffee table book or some audio lessons?
I would, I mean, I would totally love to do that, and that would be something that I would consider a good possible option, and I would put it on my list with about 20 other things that I could possibly do. So, as far as looking to pick up a new project, that's not something that I need or that I'm looking for.
Yeah.
I seriously have so many things that I hope I will someday get around to feeling like doing, and maybe that's because of my passive lifestyle. Um, I do know one thing that this month I've been off and haven't had to travel, so it's helped me catch up a lot. Like there's been a lot of things that I've been putting off and saying, okay, I'll just do that in May. Now I got that stuff done, and it's letting me to go back into the weeds a little bit deeper on some stuff, and I'm enjoying it. So I could see where eventually I would be a little more aggressive about getting stuff done if I wasn't traveling, because traveling wipes me out. It takes a couple days to recover, and then mostly I just feel like being home every minute I can around that, and that might also possibly be some kind of PTSD from having the monotonous 300 days schedule back in the dub, because if you're doing that and you really don't want to do it, and it's really, and I have some stories that no one knows about how that stress affected me. It was crazy, and but we all know I got a lot of stories. But anyway, I couldn't take it. I felt like I was dying just being on the road. I started thinking I'm not going to make it home this time. Like this is going to be the last time I leave my house. I'm going to die on this trip. It's just, and it's just like, and it felt monotonous. Felt like it didn't, why meaningless. Like, why am I doing this? Why do they have to see me every Monday, every Tuesday? It was a crazy ride that I was in. And if you're doing that and really not taking a break for a long, long, long time, that could definitely give you some PTSD. And for the longest time, I didn't even want to fly. I didn't want to take any bookings or whatever. And I think maybe that's still a factor on why I'm such a homebody now, because I remember, like, me and Booker would be traveling down the highway. We're traveling 5 days a week and just talking about, like, can you imagine getting invited to a wedding or a birthday and actually like being able to make it?
Right.
Because I just automatically consider everything, well, there's no way, thanks, no way. And for the longest time, I couldn't imagine even like having a, weekend off. And it really was like that. And it really was overwhelming for me. Obviously, that's why I eventually left. It was a little bit much. It's not what I wanted to do full time with my life and energy, what I had left of it. And so my point was traumatic stress, traveling. Oh, now it's like I got to remind myself sometimes, like, especially when I don't leave the house for several days, like I dreamed of being able to do this like I'm doing right now. It's like so amazing. Like I couldn't, for like a good 5-6 year run, 7 years, I think, besides when I injured my knee, I was just on the go. And I was like, I couldn't believe people like Undertaker could do that for twice as long as I have. Like they don't know any other life, their entire adult life. This is what they've been doing. That's not going to be me. And that's where my mind was at. And now it's like I'm so grateful that, I almost never wake up to an alarm. It's almost always when I wake up, I have no idea what time it is when I look at the clock. Yeah. Is it 9:30? Is it 12:30? I don't know. And anyway, I love it. And, I'd like to think I earned it. But and in business is way better now than it was then. So I'm so grateful in so many ways. But What the fuck were we talking about?
Well, Seth mentioned the coffee table book.
So I would like to do that, sure. And I hope that I do. And I have thought of that for sure. I mean, I've definitely thought of different platforms for RVDology, but really, like right now, I have it on my YouTube where I do like single standalone episodes for one subject, and I can't even get around to doing that. But I always think I'm going to, like I really thought, like I thought yesterday that I was going to do that today. Like I got like 3 or 4 in mind, and I always think I'm going to do it, but it's never the right time,
Yeah.
That's how my list goes. It's like that revolving sushi at those restaurants. No. It's going to come around again,
Yeah.
That's how a lot of really big, important projects are for me, where I just know, like, boom, this one can't fail. People are going to love it, and boom. And the longer I wait on a lot of those, the less original they become, which is something I've learned. Other people start doing things that are offensively close to it. It's like, oh, damn, that's kind of like my idea, taken to a different way. And that happens. That's part of it, but it doesn't stress me out anymore. I used to think, like, got to do this, got to get it out, need it by now. And now it's just like, so what if I rented an office for like 12 months and sat in an office to write 65% of a script and I've never gotten back to it? So what? Maybe I will, maybe I won't.
Yeah. And that's just an experience too, just doing it, even if sometimes you don't finish it, just putting stuff out there is like,
even if that wasn't my original goal. My original goal is to share it so other people could see this, in a live action. But I also feel like I'm just going to be around forever. And I always feel like whenever the older years come, I don't know what age that is, but I always figured that eventually I would get old and stop wrestling. And then I just pictured me wearing glasses and having white hair and figured that I would have so much to do then. Like I would never run out of opportunities, especially if I want to be a writer or if I want to be a different kind of producer, in some of the fields that I have experience in now, or by the time I reach that age. But that's something too, like a lot of people would call it procrastinating, like my dad. But that's just, I know that about myself and I'm okay with it.
Creative people tend to procrastinate a little bit more too. I do that all the time. There's so much stuff that I have I want to do, and I'm like, oh, I'll get to it, or I want to write a book. I want to do all this other stuff, and it's always in my head, but it's just like, oh, I'll get to it when I get to it. Kind of thing.
So I live with the fact that it's possible some of the stuff maybe I won't ever get to it.
Just don't know. It's just like whenever, if you feel like doing it, you do it.
I feel like I've accomplished a lot. That's one advantage I have over maybe a lot of people that haven't, quite been fulfilled by living their dreams or chasing their goals or something like that. I definitely think that gives me some leverage to where I can say, hey, what do you want from me?
Hey, look
what I did here. Look what I did here with this.
What am I giving you?
With this 190-pound Battle Creek barbarian body.
Nancy, how much do you bench?
Right. Bitch, you want to do a squat off? Yeah. Sheik told me that one time too, and it's an inside joke for me and Sabu, like forever. This was before that, because that was 91, December 91 when I went to Jamaica. And this would have been, just a year. It would have been in 90. We're training in the backyard. And Sheik's got all this oil. He's rubbing all over himself, getting sun while we're training. And he looked at me and he said, "You need to start doing some of these arm things." And I was, of course, just same feeling. My ego was insulted, just the same. And Sabu knew that I worked out and stuff, and that so he always still sometimes will say that to me. You need to do some of those arm things.
Some of those arm things.
That will be funny forever. Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Like I do. He's like, maybe you're not doing it right. I thought I looked good.
Get those power cuffs, the DDP power cuffs.
I even had the tank top because I knew I looked so good. Wearing the wife beater everywhere.
Yeah.
Imaginary lat syndrome. Can't fit through the doorway.
You got to go sideways, guys.
Yeah. Yeah, I had that fun stage around then, and him and Nancy busted my bubble.
Busted it. Cameron Brock, thanks for the $5, and then thanks for the $10 afterwards. He says, I work at a dispensary in Baltimore, and normally I bring smoke or vapes to give out when I meet wrestlers. Is that weird, or do people give you vapes all the time? Thanks, guys. Do people give you vapes just to give you vapes, Rob?
It happens often, more so like pre-rolls, and I always try and put that out there, that I prefer pre-rolls to everybody. When it's vapes, it's usually from a dispensary. Like some place will come, and it'll be like the owner of or I work at this place, I manage it or whatever, and they'll give me like a little care package that'll have maybe it'll have a vape, maybe a disposable one, maybe a real battery in there, maybe a couple edibles, maybe a pre-roll or two, So, hey, thanks, dude. And, I always appreciate it. I'm not really into the edibles, but I would think from my experience that edibles are probably the most popular way now to consume cannabis, since so many people are willing to put it in their body that never would have before. And so they're not going to think the idea of smoking it is appealing, but eating it, they're okay with. So I think that's probably the most common, but people always expect me to be excited about it. Like I'll be in the dressing room and someone that I don't know, one of the local wrestlers or whatever, would be like, hey, Rob, by the way, I make brownies for everybody. So I'll be bringing some after intermission, I'm like, oh, all right, cool, dude. But I'm not going to probably have one.
Probably not going to have one.
We'll tell them that later if it times out that way.
Yeah, right.
I might even see them. But people expect, fuck yeah, man.
Let's do it.
And I get it, and it's enjoyable for everyone. I think that's awesome that people are willing to let it into their life to see if it helps them or not.
Yeah, 100%. LTO Charlie 2.0 Australian 799. Thank you. He says, RVD, can you wish happy birthday to my uncle Donkey King Kong Guti Grown from Peru? He is your number one fan. Thank you, mate. Donkey King Kong Guti.
Yes. Happy birthday, Donkey King Kong Gucci. Is that the uncle or that's him? That's uncle.
That's the uncle.
Oh, I see it. It's right in front of me. Absolutely. Happy birthday to Donkey King Kong Gutty Grown. Dude, from Rob Van Dam. Got you your own free cameo right here on One of a Kind. Well, it probably wasn't free, I guess, but it's not, what they charge on Cameo. But that's a really personal message. Anyway, more on that later. But we all do cameos. That's a really cool thing. That's the one that seemed to survive. Like there's been so many different companies that popped up. Memo, it was Celeb VM before that. One is called Thrills. All these platforms to kind of try to do the same thing where someone's buying a personal video message. And man, Cameo just crushed it,
Yeah. How much do you like doing those? It's got to be pretty fun to kind of just be
it's cool. I'm bad at it. I do it at the very end of the window. So yeah. So if it says, boom, you just got requested, it'll give me 7 days. Chances are I'm going to be filming it on the 7th day, like when there's like 15 minutes left before it expires.
Yeah.
Not on purpose, but always, like, whenever I look at it, that's the choice my mind makes. It's okay, I got time. I'll do that later. And I knocked out like 5 the other day, which I was so proud of myself because I never do that. And then sometimes I notice that I miss their birthday because it's been sitting there for 6 days. And oh shit, they said their birthday was fucking May 14th, and I should have done this, but that's kind of on them because they didn't do it in advance enough to where it worked out with my procrastinating system.
And you know what, too? It's always nice to get a late birthday gift, I think, too.
Yeah, I always say, hey, I'm still celebrating, dude.
Yeah, that's a good way. Yeah, what a great way to put it.
Yeah, and I am.
Yeah.
But if I see the dates, then of course I do them. If I look, you can say, "Oh shit, I got to do this one tonight," or there's something they can a rush. There's a rush service they can do where you got to do it within 24 hours. So there's shit like that.
Okay.
But yeah, a lot of times they don't put the date there, and I wish they would, because then I would know how important it is, and then I might not always push it to the back and say, "Oh, look at it tomorrow." Why do today what you can put off till tomorrow?
That's it, right? That's it. And I find too, procrastinating, I work better under pressure when it happens.
Yeah, that's gotta have it. Gotta have it.
Mm.
I'm addicted to it.
I'm addicted to putting things off.
Addicted to pressure.
Well, I got a helicopter above me, if you can hear that. I live right by a hospital, so people get life
Cool.
all the time.
It reminds me of MASH. I used to watch that.
Yeah, I'm in MASH, baby.
Your radar. You hear the fucking
I'm
coppers?
radar, yeah, I'm radar.
Radar O'Reilly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got that song in my head too. Yeah, I'm not that musical, right? We talked about that. Aye.
Blue
That's
Meanie says,
Go ahead.
Blue Meanie says there's a great doc, Waldo on Weed, that a parent's decision to give their child CBD oil to combat the side effects of chemotherapy. How about that? Waldo on Weed.
I wonder if is that new? I wonder
too. I've never heard of it before.
Yeah, the one that was the first one that really first time I think any of us really even heard of CBD. I don't know if you'll remember this or not, but it was called Charlotte's Web.
Yes.
Familiar? Yeah. And there's this little girl. She'd have all these seizures several times every single day. And then her dad would give her CBD, and all of a sudden it stopped, or it might be once a week or something. And then the Sanjay Gupta, who's the head researcher in the country on the subject, he'd always been against marijuana. He always believed in all the misinformation. And then through this experience with Charlotte's Web, he realized that that wasn't the truth at all about it. He realized it is medicinal, and then he made it his goal to undo the damage that he'd been doing by fighting the wrong fight. So Sanjay Gupta is his name, and he's been real proactive about trying to educate people on CBD. This Charlotte's Web, the little girl, her parents got so much shit because everyone thought they were giving their underage daughter marijuana.
Yeah.
They didn't know anything about it. Nobody really did. It used to be like really thick black oil. That's the first CBD I had with Charlotte's Web.
Really?
Yeah, it used to be like made with butane, and the whole process was so primitive that compared to now, it's like night and day. Like now, they've refined it to where you don't have to use all these nasty chemicals to process it and to get all the concentrates blasted off of the plant. And now, just like anything else, it's McDonaldized to where we're, cookie cutter everywhere. But anyway, Sanjay Gupta, he's the guy. If you don't know about it, look him up.
All right. I've heard him before. I've heard of his name before, actually. So I'll have to take a look. And then Meanie said that documentary came out, Waldo on Weed came out in 2019. So
okay.
Relatively
cool. I'll check it out, make sure I've seen it.
Yeah. Another super chat. Thank you. Roger just wanted to wish us a happy 1 year anniversary to the podcast. RVD is the GOAT.
Awesome. Thank you, Roger.
Yeah.
Roger's got the same last name as Joe Holland.
Yeah.
Can't help but notice that. Hopefully Joe will be on next week. And, we could show some of the outfits, but I didn't think of it before, or else I would have it set up. But next week we'll do it. And if for some reason Joe can't do it, we'll just do it anyway. But
we'll figure something out.
It's been a while. Yeah. But man, they did some good jobs. I'm looking forward to wearing the actual outfit once Joe airbrushes it.
I'm excited to see them. I haven't seen any of them yet. So.
Yeah. Were you saying you're supposed to do you texted me something that Maybe you're supposed to read something.
Oh shit! Yeah, we got to do like a little Blue Chew. We can do it right now. Actually, it's like a 15-second thing where we just basically.
Oh, I'm almost done already.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So we're just talking about Blue Chew and like
7, 6, 5.
just use promo code Blue RVD and you get
20.
first trial of Blue Chew. Only pay $5 shipping, guys. BlueChew.com. Chew it and do it.
How many do you get? Just one?
I think you get
One
a
trial?
pack. I think you get a pack of them, like maybe 5. I don't know.
What you're talking about?
I'll have to figure that out.
Interesting.
Uh-oh. Seth's trying to cause some controversy here.
Blue Meanie Chew.
Blue Meanie Chew. Blue Meanie Chew. Chew it and do it. RVD, promo code RVD. Help the podcast and get your red life a little bit more exciting. How about that?
Hey, get that shit on.
Yeah. Okay, Seth, he says, did Taz give you permission for that black and orange couch? I like the painting, by the way.
Yeah, brother, they better not be orange.
Hey,
I actually told him it's a filter that I do on the Zoom call, so it's not really orange, and he believes me.
We should troll Taz, and I should make a Taz-themed background for us one week.
Hey, did he take a bump or something a couple of weeks ago? I think I saw that. Maybe
he kind of did. I think, yeah. Jericho. Jericho's been feuding with Hook, and so Taz was getting involved a little bit, and I think Jericho knocked him down, and then Taz stayed down. That was like 3 weeks ago, I think.
What did he knock him down with? Forearm or something?
No, I think it was. Yeah, I think he just took a shot like to the back of the head or something. Somebody in the chat might know. Hit us up if you know, guys. Oh yeah, Seth says that's going to be dope. I want to see keeping Joe involved all these decades. That's loyalty. Yeah, it speaks to it.
Yeah, that's amazing that he's been doing all my shit since the very first outfit and it was just I brought him a plain red outfit, and I said I want to do a silhouette of me doing this kick.
Yeah,
my leg extended, my other leg folded, just like this. I don't remember if I showed him a photo. I must have, or maybe I just did the kick, or both. But anyway, boom, on the end of a lightning bolt, and me on the end of it doing that. That was what I imagined, and that was what he did, and it was like cool as hell. It was so cool.
You should do a new version of it that you can wear too. Right?
Yeah, I think that it was on a recent one. Maybe it's this one that everybody colored. Maybe like I should. But like a version of it. I think that I saw it. Or maybe it was that one that the fan did. I'm not sure. One fan made their own outfit, and it looked like they took that silhouette of me, but then they kind of like almost camouflaged it. It looked like, and then it looked like it was blown up, and there was like a moon or yin yang or something, and it looked like you couldn't really tell, but I could see it. It's pretty badass. But I'm gonna look for that and. I don't know. Maybe we can find a way to share all the outfits. Maybe we'll go through them all like boom, 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 boom. So everyone deserves a bow on the stage for this.
Yeah. Put a little. Yeah, we can showcase a little album. Yeah, and even if that one's like not in contention or anything, because you were saying like Joel has a heart. Like it's hard to take something that somebody just designed instead of.
That's what he said. That's what he said. Yeah,
we can just show it even that's. Yeah, it's pretty neat that people are that talented. They're able to do that.
Yeah.
Power Rangers said Jericho pushed Taz, then he was defeated.
Kevin Nash said, "Congrats on 1 year, buddy."
Oh, how about that? Nash is tuning in. I didn't know that. How about that,
dude? I fucking hate it. I hate it when people interrupt, like I just interrupted you, and I made a point of it recently a couple times, and so now as soon as I notice that I'm doing it, automatically, like as soon as I start to talk. I'm inside my brain saying, "You fucking asshole! You think what you got to say is more important than what he's got to say? Like he can't wait. You got to fucking talk over him right now. He's fucking talking, asshole." But at the same time, my mouth is going through with it anyway, and then I'm just like hating myself as I'm talking. Hey, Kevin Nash, and then I'm like, asshole, that could have waited.
The thing is, though, is it's tougher too when you're doing it via screens. Like if we're doing something together, like in person, it usually doesn't happen that much. I don't think as much.
Sometimes that is true, but I can't use that as an excuse. I knew I was interrupting, and I did it anyway.
I made the excuse
because I was an asshole.
I made the excuse for you. Jeremy Shaw, thanks for the $5. He says, I wrote you an email in 2000 as a dumb 9-year-old telling you I was practicing your frog splash, and you wrote back telling me to stay positive. That's pretty cool.
And did you stay positive?
Did you stay positive, Jerry? Let us know if you stayed positive. Oh, that's right. I want to pull up somebody actually sent an email to the RVD podcast email.
Did I talk about the email that I got from Chris Canyon? Or no, the actual mail?
No, talk about that.
This just popped in my head, but this would have been 1991.
Oh.
Yeah. So I was just 20 years old and, just green as grass, all the purple grass. Well, anyway, we went to USWA, and I just remember it being like around this time. Now that I think about it, I think I know where he got my address, because that would make sense. Because I remember Machine Gun Mike Kelly and Al Snow telling me back then that if I wrote to Dave Meltzer in the Wrestling Observer, like back then, like even though it was looked down upon, like we all read it in the in this printed form back then, and then we go, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about unless he said good stuff, then we liked it, like wow, he likes me. Anyway, Wrestling Observer, Mike Kelly told me that I could write in there that I'm looking for any of my matches that anybody has, and that and they can, if anyone has them, to send them to me. So I did that. So it was like a classified section or whatever, but it said Rob Zukowski's looking for any matches of his or whatever. I don't know if it would have had my address right then, but quite possibly back in the day, it might have said anyone that has info, can send it here. I don't know, but I'm thinking that's where he got my address. But anyway, I had a letter when I got home. I think it was when I got home from Tennessee that somebody had written me about them wanting to get into the business. They wanted to wrestle. I'm almost positive that he saw my mention in the Observer about me wanting, and I'm almost positive that he said that's where he got my info from. He wanted information on how to be a wrestler, and he was in the Army, this guy, and he's telling me, he's 6 foot, he's 220 pounds or whatever at the time, or a pretty big guy, and he lifts weights, and he can do this and that. And I don't remember, I don't remember what my action or reaction was. I know that I kept the actual mail. I know I talked to my parents about it. I don't know if I ever wrote him back or not. I must have planned on writing him back if I kept it, which I know I had it for a really, really long time. And anyway, when I met Chris Canyon in 92 or 93, I wrestled him one time in Mount Airy, North Carolina at the fair. And that was the first time that I met him. And anyway, he told me that was him. He told me that he wrote me. I don't remember if it was like, did you get my letter, or if it was thank you for writing me back. That I can't remember. But I remember him telling me, that he had written me trying to get into the business when he was getting out of the Army. And I remember this specifically too. This, boom, clear as the day now. This information was in there. He is currently a doctor, and his friends think he's crazy because he makes $60,000 a year, and he wants to turn that down for a chance to be a professional wrestler. And he wanted my advice on that.
Whoa, holy shit.
Yeah.
Man.
Isn't that crazy?
That's really crazy. What's neat too about that is I know you and Brian Cage are friends, and Brian Cage is like, that was his guy, was Canyon. Like he was big in the
Yeah, I noticed when he said when Chris was saying, who better, and I was like, didn't someone else used to say who better? And then I think I learned a lot about that on maybe it was the Dark Side of the Ring. I think at Chris Canyon, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
they did.
Like, wow, okay, yeah, that was Brian's guy. Like that was his mentor and shit.
Yeah, pretty wild.
Well, now I see why Brian's so athletic and why he does, so many moves that a lot of big dudes don't do.
Yeah. I know he's so impressive. We were talking about that months ago. Oh, it was a long time ago when you were mentioning being in your realm and stuff like that. Brian Cage kind of fits that. He's like an anomaly, I think. He's able to do it and make it believable. I like it. It's one of my favorites too going. So
yeah, very, very talented. I won't be surprised if he's at the top of the industry someday, whatever that means. And if he's not, it's just a shame because sometimes that happens. But he's definitely got the talent, the look, everything that it takes.
100%. Hey, and if all else fails, I think he could be the new Wolverine in the Marvel universe. So
there you go. Yeah.
Jeremy, thanks. He says, it's been a hard time, Rob, so have a smoke for me, good sir. And then he said, your recent RVD Zen on depression and anxiety helped a lot personally. So good to hear.
Very good. Yes, I need to talk more about that too, whether it's a standalone episode on my page or we talk about it here, because I always feel like that's not talked about enough.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It's weird. 2 days ago, Ashley Massaro went through my head, and I made a reference to when she killed herself, and then I saw on social media, I think it was Tori, one of the divas, posted that it had been, I guess, 5 years since, and I guess it was on that day or whatever, and I that's one example of some mental health issues that I sure had no idea of that was going on, and that's it's not talked about enough, and people don't know that have it, how common it is, because there's so many other people that say, fucking pick your chin up, quit being a pussy.
Right. Yeah. It's so many, what's the term for it, where it's just misconceptions, I guess, when it comes to that. And people are being more aware of it now in mental health and what it all is, but there was such a stigmatism, I guess, against it, if that's the right word, where people, hey, solve this on your own. You don't need, there's always that adverse thing to not getting to therapy or not taking medication or all that kind of stuff.
What the fuck have you got to be depressed about?
Right. That too. Mm-hmm.
There's that. And then there's the, with the drugs, people just overall were taught to not like drugs. And
right.
that's one thing where, as a role model, I kind of differ and go against the grain there, for better or worse. I'm going to not tell your kid that drugs are bad. I'm going to tell them drugs in general are an awesome invention. Drugs can do amazing things, such as numb your fucking chest before the doctor cuts you open to fucking pull your heart out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just say no. Just say no.
Just say no. What a stupid concept.
Overall, abuse is bad. Use can be damn good, and it definitely has extended the life and the life expectancy of humans for many, many, many years since the plague came and someone came up with penicillin. Just say no. Just say no. No, I don't know. No penicillin, man. Give me this bubonic. I'll take the bubonic plague. let me get a side of mumps. And,
Son of mom, give me a little bit of polio while you're at it. I'll take polio.
Yeah, there you go.
Hook me up with some polio, some fucking mad cow disease. Let's get it all.
And so because of that, people that really could benefit from drugs are, I don't want to say are scared to, but choose to not use. Mm-hmm. And I say that that's fine. That's up to you. But if you choose to use, it don't mean you're going to abuse. Just because you hear all these crazy stories about people that have to take massive amounts once they start and can't get off it, and then their life goes down the shitter, that doesn't mean you're going to do that, especially if you have a legitimate use and it could really help you through that time and benefit, the quality of your life. I say, boom, thank God for drugs. So, yeah. So, trying to relate it like what we were talking about. I had it and I just forgot. Oh yeah, so specifically that includes depressants. Man, brain chemistry is everything, and we're all so fucking different, you know.
Yeah.
There's going on 8 billion fucking people now on the fucking planet. We're all a little different. When you talk about your brain chemistry, man, you could just be a little tiny bit off on one thing, you know, like your brain should release more dopamine and you should get a little more pleasure than you get. It could be something small like that fucks your whole life up. It keeps you, behind fucking closed drapes and windows in the dark all day, not wanting to go anywhere and making you wonder why you're so fucking crazy. And it could be something so simple. It could be something you could go, whoop, and you could fucking boom, all of a sudden have the greatest fucking life. Right. Is it possible you get addicted? Sure. Is it possible that you get hooked on Prozac and you start drinking and taking Prozac and get suicidal thoughts? Some people have. I've never been recommended Prozac. That's not for everybody. There's so many different kinds. So that's something too. I've always been interested in drugs and the different kinds, the different strengths, and I don't know why, but it's just always been really, probably because I've been around it so much, but it's always just been really interesting. Like I mentioned, when people talk about something like Vicodin, and during the flares last week when I got cut off, at one point I was asked about would I guess Seth asked about, would I consider watching like one wrestling match a week and talking about it. Mm-hmm. And I was trying to get to a point saying that I wouldn't speak the same language as the fans because I do it. And they just think they know how everything works and they don't. So I don't know how I would go over the match without completely exposing it from the inside. I don't know how else I would talk about it except for what stands out to me as a worker. So, and I was trying to explain how we don't speak the same language. The words don't mean the same thing. And I used steroids as an example, like if somebody says, hey, this guy went to jail for selling steroids or something, in the world I live in, someone's just going to be like, damn, man, did he get a lot of time? But other people, to them, it's, oh, he's a drug pusher, and then other people, when they hear steroids, then they're just like, oh, get that shit off the market. That's for cheaters. And other people, would just be like, hey, did you know testosterone actually fucking helps your anti-aging factors and boom, boom, boom. And there's a doctor now. It's just clinics everywhere. Anyway, the reason I was going through all that is because I had another example that I wanted to say. And what was the fucking word that I was going to use? God damn it. We were talking about, what were we talking about before I fucking went on this? I meant the 2 hour mark.
Depression, medication.
Yes. Mm-hmm. God damn it.
And then Seth talking about you watch a match a week or something.
Okay, so this was maybe, now that I think about it, maybe not even worth going through all that because it kind of gets off of the depression. But I just wanted to say, when I've always been fascinated about drugs, and one thing is like if I hear like Vicodin or hydrocodone, which is the same thing, to me that's not enough information because there's no amount attributed to that. Even if you talk about a number of hydrocodones or of Vicodins, just because that's such a part of my world, like I hear it differently than someone else, a regular person outside of the business or whatever might hear. Wow, he said he takes 5 Vicodin in the morning before his morning workout. Okay, so what are you trying to tell me? I get 5 pills, but how strong are the pills? Oh, I don't know. Okay, so then what does that mean to you then?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if they're 5 milligram and he's taking 5 of them, well, that's 25 milligrams. If they're 10 milligrams, well, then I guess that's about 50 milligrams. You know, they could be 7.5. When it comes to Percocets, they come in anywhere from as low as 5 that I know of, 5 milligrams, and as high as like 80 fucking milligrams in a pill. But people, it's not part of their world, part of their language. It doesn't translate the same way. If they're like, man, how many Percocet do you think I can buy, you know, for $30? It's like, what strength are you? I mean, you know, you get what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, that's like there's more detail behind
right, yeah. So for a lot of people, you know, when it comes to antidepressants, they just hear addictive pill and they hear suicide. It's been associated with Prozac and drinking, but there's so many. I don't even know, but I'm trying to think. Wellbutrin. I think Xanax is borderline antidepressant.
The Lexapro.
Yep.
Celexa, that's the one I'm on. Is Celexa.
Okay. Yeah.
What else was there? There's a
I
couple.
do Lexapro. I couldn't remember that one. Yeah. And so, even if you had a bad experience with a drug or with a chiropractor, same thing. Doesn't mean that they're all going to be like that either. You know, so a lot of times you got to try different shit, different amounts, but also actual different substances. Maybe sometimes if something doesn't work good for you, but they've got a really bad rap, you know, and people that could really use just a simple little pill, it could help make their life so much better. Because it could very well be just an endorphin imbalance. It could be just something temporary that you need a little kick through because it's something you're going through, and then you might not need it anymore. You might always need it, whatever. But that's a lot of people will be like, well, I don't want to have to fucking always take that and shit. Is it that hard, or just because you were brought up to just say no, drugs are bad? Because as far as I know, the older people get, the bigger the handful of pills that they swallow looks.
Right.
You know?
The bigger that container gets, the weekly container, it's like how many pills you have in there.
I remember looking at my grandma's shit one time, and I was like, "Oh my god, you swallow all that?" And you know, a couple vitamins and probably anti-inflammatories. Who knows? But there was, you know, a lot of pills, and she was an old lady, you know, and she needed it.
Do what you gotta do.
What, is she gonna say no?
Right.
No, I'd rather die young.
No, yeah, I'm done. I'm not gonna take any of this stuff. You know, and like with the medication, it's like people, when with depression, you look at it as almost, I mean, the conventional way to think about it is it's a weakness. It's a sign of weakness. You're not able to do it on your own and stuff like that, I think is another misnomer about it, where it's just like what you said is like it could just be just through this one little tiny thing that your brain is not connecting and things like that, and something can help you out with that. So and then just balance it out with your core things, your core life stuff. Are you sleeping enough? Are you eating enough? Are you working out? There's socializing enough? And there's one other one too, I can't remember what it is.
Is it getting out and getting the sun, vitamin D? because yeah, that helps a lot. So, a lot of times I go out and I just feel so much better. My spirit's lifted and everything just from feeling the sun. And I'm like, fuck, I should have been doing that hours ago, sitting there fucking feeling like shit.
Right?
Yeah, but you're right. Yeah, that's the thing. And even though we talk about it, of course, people are still gonna feel like they're weak. I sure as fuck did. That
I
was one of
do.
the hard, yeah. And I was weak. You know what I mean? I couldn't even. My voice was so weak. It was like crackly, and and I was like at the rock bottom of the most depressed that I've been up to that point. And fortunately, I haven't been there since then either. So hopefully that stays my rock bottom. But man, I remember once I finally had, and you know what, Ashley fucking talked me into into doing the call and getting on antidepressants. And
Really?
yeah, she wasn't the only one, but she was a big part of it. I was talking to her during that time, and she was on it, and she was just like, it takes 2 weeks, it kicks in. You don't have to worry about bursting out in tears out of nowhere. You didn't know that was going to happen. And I was dealing with all this stuff. People might have heard me talk about this, but there was the divorce. There was my dad dying. There was my little dog dying. And then there was like all this stuff in a short amount of time. And then I was like all by myself, and I got really depressed. And she was a big part of me, feeling like, all right, I got to do something. This ain't cool. And that was so hard to get the phone and make that call. And it took several days, several attempts at dialing the whole number without hanging up.
Really? Oh, it took you. Oh, wow. Yeah.
So I get it. And of course, you're going to feel like you're weak. And you know what? So what? That's just fucking stupid. That's what we're taught to believe. I don't want to admit that I can't handle this by myself, but in reality, so fucking what? That's what we have each other for. We're social fucking animals. There's experts in every fucking field that we could need help in. And, you might be taking pride in something you shouldn't be taking pride in, and that's in being able to fucking live while suffering at the same time, and you might not even fucking be needing to do that.
Right? Yeah, it's true. It's tough. It's a tough process when you start off, and then keeping up with it and trying to keep all that focus. And the RVDology helps. It helps a lot. It's different perspective too. So there you go.
I'm just looking at the chats, and Kanan said, RVD, you're one of my favorite wrestlers.
Yep.
Kanan Gasket. Oh, it's right. Oh, did I put that up there or you did?
I did. I put it up there.
Oh, okay. Because I saw we already passed that.
Yeah.
And we did the black and orange count, so I was confused. I always by the time I look at it, it's always like 2 hours behind.
Yeah, no, they sent me a reminder too. They're like, hey, did you get the super chat?
Oh, cool.
Yep. Here's a fun one. Mike Sweeney, gotta ask, what do you think it would have been like to smoke with Andre the Giant?
I think it would have been hard to get the joint from him and those big ass fingers. Yeah. It's hard enough. It's actually a bit of a science passing a joint from one person to the other. The first guy that taught me to smoke taught me how to do it, and he taught me to do the pass by actually, like letting go, but you have to let the person have it and let go of it, and it's like a roll. And when you take it from them, you roll it into holding it. And every once in a while, I'll be with someone that's like so awkward, and they don't know like what to do, and they're just like, I'm sorry, here, and it's just like, here, just put it in my fucking hand. It's gonna be hot for a second, but we'll get past it.
We'll make it through.
I can't imagine getting high with Andre. He probably had some really big lungs. But I would love to know if he could hold his breath longer than me. Like you would think having that big of lungs, maybe holding that much more oxygen would give you the advantage. But then again, you got a bigger motor, but it's got to run a much bigger bus. So I don't know. But would have been super cool. Would have been an honor. I've never heard any stories of him smoking weed. Always just drinking.
Yeah, always drinking big time. You know, there have been no way I could have drank. I would have been fucking dead. I would have been dead.
What's
Just
that?
seeing that image of him like holding a can of beer and it's just like so tiny in his hand. It's crazy.
Shook his hand one time when I was that young little Rob Zukowski at my very first live show in Battle Creek at the Kellogg Center.
Wow. So and he was there.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Yep. When Miss T said, "You like wrestling so much, you should work out. You should do some of these arm things."
Do some of those arm things.
Yeah. And when you're 18, I can get you in. And then I was like, whoa, what?
Yeah. That's awesome.
But Andre, Hillbilly Jim, the Killer Bees, Lenny Paffa, Iron Sheik was there, but I don't think he shook my hand. Same with Volkov.
Fuck you, Bubba. Jabron.
You know what's cool? We were at this museum recently, a wrestling museum in Springfield, or right outside of Springfield, Massachusetts. And this guy, everybody knows the guy locally. I can't remember his name right now. I should get back to you with the story probably. But anyway, his house, he's got all these memorabilia items hanging, and it's really cool. And he's obviously friends with a lot of wrestlers. And he had a wrestler way back in the day named Bobby Colt. And I'm looking at him, I'm like, wow, like he really was a wrestler, because I knew Bobby Colt when I was that kid getting dropped off at the Kellogg Center at those shows back then. And Bobby Colt was the ring announcer at those live events. And he befriended me. Like, he was cool because, you know, me and my buddies, we were so excited. We'd be up there at the guardrail till the show started, trying to ask him questions, you know, can you get so-and-so's autograph? You know, and just bugging the shit out of him. And he told us that he used to be a wrestler. And I knew that he wasn't lying, but to see him as the wrestler up in this guy's house, and this guy knew him as that, it really, like, one of those full circle things, you know, because I had forgotten about talking to the ring announcer. And then at the next show, I was like, I already know that guy, the ring announcer. Hey, Bobby, you know.
Yo, Bobby.
Yeah, yo, Bobby. Yeah,
yo, Bobby.
Bobby Colt, fuck yeah.
That's fucking sweet. Oh, man, that's cool. I know so many cool full circle moments when it comes to wrestling and stuff like that.
Or life in general.
Yeah, life in general, yeah, exactly. Cool. Well, Rob, I mean, we went 2 hours, man. Do you want to? Do you have an RVDology you want to do or anything?
I feel like I've kicked out so much RVD knowledge in this episode anyway. But yes, I do.
Okay. Hey, let's do it then. Boom.
I'll try to talk. How could you let me do this with my hair sticking out? You
Rob,
people,
I'm bald. I have no.
You all been laughing at me this whole time, and I know it.
I have no hair in the game.
Shut up! It's not cool. That's true. But so all right. So here's the dealio, guys. I'm always happy to share my perspective, and I know that it always is going to be different than everyone else's because I'm one of a kind. Also, because I stand out like that, and I'm proud of the values that I follow, and a lot of that is what makes me stand out. Not everybody is proud of all of their qualities. You know, people that are hypocrites, for instance, that tell you not to do one thing, but then they really do it behind closed doors. You know, maybe people that really don't like themselves because they've been shitty, or I don't know, maybe they got blood on their hands, whatever. But a lot of people aren't going to be the most proud of all of their qualities and their values. But you'll notice if there's ones that they think are interesting and they want to be defined by, then they're going to let you know. Those are the qualities they want you to know. They might not want you to know that they fucking think 8-year-olds at the middle school are sexy, but they do want you to know, hey, you should never disrespect the dead. hey, you should never hit a woman. I don't care what the reason is. My daddy taught me there's never a good excuse. Fuck you. If you hit a woman, you got a problem with me. Okay. I stand by all of my values, and when I'm able to help people, then I'm super stoked about it. And so, like, one of mine is that I want to talk about is what I've been talking about this whole episode, as far as like being passive, but in a more specific way. I personally don't feel comfortable telling other people what they should do. That is where I'm comfortable with my energy exchange between Rob and the rest of the universe. To actually take control verbally, or try to, of someone's free will is something that doesn't resonate with me. And so I would love people that know me, maybe people that watch me, to ever find that I'm not consistent with what I said, because that's my core true beliefs. I'm not even comfortable, like, if let's say Katie's sitting over there on the couch and I want her to hand me the remote control. At this stage of spiritual growth that I'm at, I'm not even comfortable saying, hand me that. Hand me the remote. Thanks. I don't say that. That's not how I approach the idea of suggesting that somebody else help me. I will most likely go, hey, could you hand me the remote? Or, baby, would you mind handing the remote? Thank you. That's the way that the whole thought translates before it comes to my mouth. I'm sure there might be exceptions. There's exceptions to everything, but I really can't think of any. I'm not around kids. I know that when you have children or you're taking care of children, sometimes they need you to tell them what to do. I'm not comfortable with that. You know what I mean? I can imagine if I saw a kid taking candy from a stranger, getting into the car or something, and I knew what was going on, I can imagine saying, you shouldn't talk to strangers. But that's not my nature, and I don't even expect kids to look at me as someone that should be able to tell them what they should or shouldn't do. I expect kids to say, why don't you fuck off? Like I said, I'm not around kids. I don't have that relationship with young kids, and I know that's part of it. But for me, I'm always, like, and maybe sometimes I say maybe you should, if it's a suggestion, maybe you should call her and just tell her how you feel. But I won't say, and when someone else suggests what you should do, sometimes it's cool. They're trying to help. It's conversation, whatever. But if they suggest something and they're serious about it, and it's something so opposite from what you want to do, then it's a problem. Because then you just don't want to hear it. It's just like garbage, like, like if they're like, if they just say, I don't know, this is an example I'm making up, but like if someone says, if I say, oh, fuck, man, this restaurant looks really crowded. Damn, I was really hoping we could eat here. They look like they got a big line outside. And if I'm with a certain person, they might say, you should go up to the front and speak to the manager and tell them you're Rob Van Dam. And if that's like something that I wouldn't do, you know what I mean? Yeah. You should tell her that you're RVD, see if she wants to sit with us. You should ask them if they want to ride. If it's something that you just wouldn't do, then it's just like, please don't tell me what I should do. Another time that comes up is with stand-up comedy, because people want to live vicariously through you. So a lot of times they'll say, oh, you should try this one up on stage. And then they'll go proceed with a joke. And it's like, that's not my creative expression. They do it with wrestling too, Mm-hmm. Kush, the dude that does my song, Rob Van Dam, because I went through all those years being a pioneer, always coming up with new moves and outdoing myself, being extreme. He thought that I should just always do that forever. And he'd say, you should come up with about like 5 new moves because the moves that you've been doing, like we've already seen those now. And I would just be like, okay, thank you. Thank you for telling me how to be me. Yeah. And it's always like felt like that to me. It comes across like that. And now, like I said, now just this person that I am now, it doesn't feel comfortable at all to tell somebody they should or shouldn't do something. Unless maybe they ask, hey, Rob, should I date girl number 1? Or should I date girl number 2? I think you should date them both, But even then, it's like, I think you should, or maybe you should. And that's from reprogramming myself as an adult, from being aware of it. And since I'm aware of it, I find that other people sure as hell don't mind saying what other people like myself should do or shouldn't do. I hear it all the time. And I wasn't always that fucking aware of it. Like I said, I got here. I remember a time when I was living in Augusta. This would have been around WCW time, so I'm 22 years old. And I had a roommate that was Greg Price. Greg Price was a wrestling promoter. A lot of people know him. He was a big part of my career. He actually worked for South Atlantic Pro Wrestling when I was there. I met him in that real estate office in 1991 from South Atlantic Wrestling. Later on, he took over the book. I worked for him for South Atlantic, and then I worked for him for Whoa 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 Wow, and then he and I did shows together under All Star Wrestling. At one point, we were roommates. 21 years old. You're young. You're stupid. You have no idea how immature that is when you're that age. But looking back at it, I've said this a lot of times on this show, but I say it everywhere. I feel like I didn't grow up and didn't feel like an adult till my mid-40s, till going through that rock bottom depression that I've already talked about, having to rebuild myself and keep what was important and get rid of what wasn't working. And going through that caused me to finally grow up and look at my relationship between myself and the universe is something completely different than I ever did before. So that's why I'm so much more now open and willing to share my perspective, because I'm committed to it and I have the experience to back it up, and I have the record to show that the experience paid off. Back then, I contributed, but I had a friend, Scott, that would come over, and Scott, he would come over to hit the water bong or whatever. Scott, so let's put him over. Scott Cross. How you doing, Scott?
Hey, Scott.
Hey, Scott. He's in Jacksonville now. But back then, when we were young, Greg was overweight. And, man, I just remember Scott giving him shit for it. Like every day, he'd be like, oh, look at you, man. How could you let yourself get like that? Like, dude, you should fucking get to the gym. If I were you, I'd fucking start exercising right away before it's too late. Like, you really don't give a fuck that you look like that? Like, you should give a fuck, And, one, it's really, really rude. 2, kids are like that. Young adults are kids, whatever. All I'm saying is, looking back at it, I would never fucking do that now, ever. And even though I was telling you that he was doing it, I feel like, like I came in with my punches here and there. I don't know exactly what I said, and I didn't, I don't know, maybe I was cool, but maybe it was just Scott. Fuck you, Scott. But I feel like I had that immature mindset anyway. And I just remember him, telling Greg what Greg should do, all the time. Like, dude, you should fucking, you're going to die, bro. Look at you. Like, you should fucking care. You should exercise. You should maybe cut back on the fucking fried chicken. And he got such a kick out of that. But the point to all this is that frame of mind, that kind of person's perspective is entitlement. They feel entitled to tell other people what they should or shouldn't do, and I don't. So I'm not telling you that you shouldn't tell people what to do, but I'm telling you that I don't, and I'm telling you this is the way of the Zen master RVD. This is one of my ways of RVDology. I don't feel like I should be telling people what they should do. I don't feel like other people should be telling me what I should do. And sometimes maybe they're suggesting an idea. Hey, RVD, you should get a shirt that says I smoke weed. Like, oh, okay, yeah, I never thought about that. Good idea. I'm not going to be offended by those throw out idea kind of things. But when it's somebody that's really suggesting direction, like, she's looking at you. You should buy a drink and have it sent over to her. That's what you should do. Fuck off. That's how I feel. And another example, and this is where I probably would have fit in before I grew spiritually. Are people still listening, or is everybody waiting?
Yeah, we got almost 2,000 people tuning in.
Okay, cool. Then good. Hopefully this will help some people. I saw in the comments somebody said you helped my mental health so much, and and boom, dude, that's just it. Just knowing that fucking makes it worth it. So here's an example, and you can see if maybe this is you. Okay, we all have our own ideas of how a person should be. Hence, we have our own core set of values. That's our system. Like I said at the beginning of this topic, people are so proud of all of their qualities, all of their values, the standards that they live by. But they really want you to know the ones that they think are interesting, that they think are just fortitude, just, strong enough to where you should be able to respect them for saying it. And they want you to know about those fucking things. Along these lines is where men or boys will tell other men how to be men. And think about it, because this might be you. Because I think this probably was me before. But can you imagine telling somebody, dude, if you're just going to stand there and let that guy fucking talk trash, and you're not even gonna fucking deck him one time, dude, then that's not a man to me. Like, you should fucking pop him right in his fucking mouth. Does this sound familiar? A lot of people feel like pushing these values on other people, and they mean it sometimes with a respectable approach. Like, maybe I think I'm helping you, teach you how to be a man, how to be respectable. And then I'm saying, wait, what, dude? Whoa. So you let him untie your shoes and you let him fucking pull your shirt out of your pants and you let him fucking flick your nose, dude, and you didn't fucking do anything, bro? Holy shit. Like, you didn't even... Like, come on, dude, you should have at least fucking smacked him. Nothing. Well, guess what? I'm okay with that. You know why? Because I know that we don't all think the same way. Not all of us are physical. Not all of us think someone fucks with me, bam, I'm going to fucking settle it. We don't all think with violence. We don't all think with that over-the-top aggression. Some of us are fighters to different extents. And some of us, not our thing. So some of us, when you say, wait a minute, you heard her screaming, you knew she was in trouble, and you didn't feel like you should go do something about it? Well, guess what? I didn't want two of us to be killed. I'm okay with that answer. You were scared? Okay, you know what? Again, If I had a kid, maybe I want to shape and mold my kid to have some of the same values that I do. I don't know, but I don't expect everybody else to be the hero and to want to fucking jump in and bam, you should have fucking grabbed that guy when he was reloading or when he had his back to you. I'm not that guy, and I'm not going to tell you should have done anything. It's not my decision to make. It's yours, and it's your choice, and it's your free will, and I have no desire whatsoever to fucking overtake that and to tell you how to be a better you. Don't tell me how to be a better me. You know, you can imagine it. You can fantasize in your mind over the image of me if only I had the qualities that you wanted me in. You know, like, you should wear a Speedo. You know, I got you, Clarence. I just thought of that on the spot. But anyway, if you want to follow this value of RVDology, then I welcome you to, and I would look forward to working on it with you. And as I always say, you got to reprogram yourself as an adult. You can't look at the world the same way that you did as a kid. Santa's not real anymore. Your position in the universe isn't the same. And so in reprogramming yourself, awareness is the key. The more you think of something, the more you're aware that it's happening. And that's how you work on it. Give yourself a break. You don't have to... Don't be mad at yourself just because you interrupted Dominic and you hate it when people do that. Don't start saying, you're a fucking asshole, man. He was talking. Fuck. You know, give yourself a break sometimes. Beat yourself up in private afterwards when no one knows what you're doing. So that's, yeah, basically I think I covered everything. Not everyone thinks physically. So if you think, man, I don't know, Rob, can you believe this? This guy came in and he said, I'm robbing the place. Everyone take your fucking wallets out, put them on the table. And this motherfucker, he put his fucking wallet on the table. Can you believe that, man? He should have done something, right? It was one guy, and there was like 6 of them. Not necessarily. He doesn't have the factors that you or I do. He doesn't have that thought process. Maybe he's not a good fighter. Maybe he felt unsure about his chance of getting killed or something. And you know what? I'm okay with everybody not thinking the exact same way that I do. In fact, I'm used to it because I'm one of a kind, baby. Yeah. 4, 3, 2, bang!
Rob, you should do more of those arm thingies, though.
Yeah, I'm working on it.
Yeah, maybe do a little bit more.
I'm going to.
Okay.
That's the plan.
I forgot to read Get Blitzed. But guys, if you like what you see on RVD TV, one of a kind here, go to get-blitz.com and use promo code RVD. You get 15% off. It is Lit Aid, THC Lit Aid, Delta 9, legal in all 50 states. It's Mickey Ray Sinatra and Courtney. They do a great job. They have so many different flavors, from key lime pie to tiger's blood to cherry to blue raspberry, which I have up in my cupboard. I'm still waiting for the right time to take it so I don't freak out by myself or nothing. So going to do that. But guys, go to get-blitz.com, promo code RVD, 15% off. Getblitz.com, guys. So cool. Real quick, I saw this one in the chat real quick. Does Rob have any experience or advice of getting off Valium or any benzo after being a long-term dependent, says MZ? You have any advice on that, Robert?
Not only do I not, but I can't offer actual doctor's advice. You need to do it with a professional. And everybody's brain chemistry is different. You know what I mean? So sometimes, you quit cold turkey and it's like kicking a leg out from underneath somebody. They're used to it being there. They depend on it for balance. Then it's not there. Boom, they crash and the system's not ready for that big void. And so some stuff has to be done gradually. I can't say at what pace to do anything specific really for anybody specific because we're all different. And when it comes to anything, and Valium included. Some of us might need it long term. Some of us might always need it. Honestly, I'm okay with that. If you're not okay with it, and I get that, sometimes you just want to get off something, give your body a break, be fresh, whatever. That's cool. Get a doctor's help if you've been doing it long time, because, like I said, when you are physically dependent on something being there, it can't just all of a sudden not be there anymore, and you maintain balance. So get a plan together, and make sure you're getting it off of it for the right reason, because some people need shit long term, some short term, some always, and some not at all. So there's not a piece of advice that works for everybody.
Absolutely, yeah. Definitely consult with a doctor and see the best route to take on it. Like, yeah, you don't want to just do cold turkey. You don't want to do anything like that before you know all the right knowledge that you need to know. So there you go. So cool. Right. Heck yeah.
We talked about a lot of good shit in this.
We covered a lot of good shit, man. we some great ground, from wrestling to philosophical to life study stuff. Good. It's been a good episode. What a way to celebrate 1 year, Rob. We encompassed the whole aspect of the show, I think, in this episode.
Fucking A. Now I'm motivated to do some more RVDology, especially on the back of seeing the fans comment on how much it's helped them, and just being in touch with the fact that mental health affects so many people, and it's not just getting medicated, but it is. We talked about how I feel about that. But sometimes you're in a situation that is depressing. Sometimes you got to get yourself the fuck out of that situation that you're in. Anybody would be fucked up in your shoes. And then also, sometimes it's something where you fucking lose your train of thought. Fuck, what was I going to say? God damn it. We got to end this. My brain's going to get tired. What was the point I had with that? Mental health. Sometimes you really can use the wonderful, magical power of the brain and positive thoughts. And sometimes that will be enough. It's all about the vibration your mood is, and we know that, right? So sometimes we want to just obsess about something that puts us in such a shitty vibration, but we want to be there. Like, we feel like we deserve it. We feel entitled, like, fuck this, man. I want to be pissed. Like, we don't want to all of a sudden think about the Smurfs. We want to be fucking pissed. You know what I mean? And then, but if we ever want to actually switch our mood, then we can, when it's just mood based. And we can. Sometimes a secret shifter does help. Petting the dogs, or getting the sun, or whatever. Sometimes it is something where I'm going to do this thing that puts me in a good mood. And sometimes that helps. Sometimes we're in a bad mood for a reason, because we want to stew over something, thinking that we're going to find an answer that we probably really won't, but we got to spend time there searching, figuring out how the fuck we're going to deal with this disruption of our normal vibe. But if you follow the way of our radiology, it's always about getting that vibe back, increasing your spiritual vibration so that you feel at your best, because then you will be at your best. You'll be perceived at your best. You will have your best life, and you will be experiencing the best that you can when you're at your highest vibration. So that has to do with being in the best mood, thinking the best thoughts, and staying away from the opposite.
Yes, very well said. And man, it's you just learn a lot here. Get a lot here. So
we're morphing. Year 2 is all straight up. You're at Dr. Van Dam's. Get on the couch, fucking spread them. Oh wait, you don't spread them. I haven't started next year yet. We got to look it up. I don't have my degree yet.
You're working on it. You're working.
Yeah. Keep it close in the meantime.
Be right. If you do like what you're seeing, be sure to give us 5 stars on Apple iTunes or Spotify, wherever you listen to us. Go to the RVD's YouTube channel, The Real RVD. You can check all new episodes every Monday at 4:20 at rvdtv.com. They drop like I said, every Monday at 4:20, and then every other week. So this coming Tuesday is going to be right down the middle, episode 2 with Bill Alfonso. Check it out. Fonzie's going to be on the show. We'll do a live recording of that. So tune into that on rvdtv.com. Otherwise, go to RVD 420 and check out those the new glass that Rob has, based off his attire and stuff like that. So very cool stuff. And like Rob said too, oh my gosh, what was the name of the Kratom website again, Rob?
It is vivazen.com.
vivazen.com. Go there, use promo code RVD20, get a discount there. So guys, man, what a full year episode here. We covered all the ground, and we just hit over 2,000 people tuning in. How about that? So
boom, let's go another hour.
Woo! Go do the marathon. Do the marathon.
RVD.
Hey, I'm not going to tell you guys what to do, but maybe you should tune in next week to One of a Kind with RVD.
Hey, you do what you want to do, and if that includes telling everybody else what they should do, you do you. I'll do RV.
D.
Line D. Sorry. I told you my brain was